Hello guys, I'm back for part 3 of my platformer tutorial. I'm sorry if the audio was a bit quiet last time. I'm still trying to figure out how to get this audio working good. So if it was too quiet or too loud, please let me know. I'm trying to balance it out between making my audio loud enough to hear and making it so you don't hear really annoying clicking sounds. And I'm trying to get my face closer to the mic, but sometimes I turn away and then it gets quiet, and sometimes my neck just starts to hurt from leaning into my mic. But enough of that. Let's get into the video. So hopefully this is better now. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make physics. Yes, physics. So if I go to player, so first thing, well, not physics, but physics, gravity. So physics, I'm going to make a comment, call it PHYSICS for physics. This dot gravity equals an arbitrary number, 7. I don't know if that's a good number. It could be a bad number. We can play around with it later, just as long as we have a number for now. So I'm going to say this dot y speed equals 0. And I think, well, that's it actually. That's all we need for gravity. So in the step event, I'm going to comment that out. Don't need that. I'm going to say this dot y speed equals or plus equals gravity. This dot gravity, and then this dot y plus equals this dot y speed. And that's all I need for gravity actually. If I refresh, it falls to the ground. That's as basic as gravity gets. Now the fun but annoying and hard part, the part that I struggled with when I first started out. Hopefully I can make this easy on you guys, and I will do my best, do my darndest. So I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it bboox.js. That is short for bounding box. Whether or not that's a good name or good convention, I have no idea. It's the convention I use. You can call it whatever you want. Bounding box. This is like a solid object, like the physical manifestation of whatever it is. So it could be the wall or the player. It's just a box that surrounds them, an invisible box that allows us to calculate collisions with them. So I want to make a class called bbox. I'm going to do a constructor. And in that constructor, I'm going to do an x and a y, a width and a height. Okay, so that's what it takes in, just like a rectangle, but this time bounding box. So I'm going to say this dot x1 equals x, this dot y1, and this will come inherit soon, y1 equals y, this dot w for width equals w, this dot h for height equals height, and then this dot x2 equals x plus width, this dot y2 equals y plus height. And actually I'm going to say, we don't need to, but I'm going to say this dot x and this dot w, this dot y, and this dot h. Okay, now I'm going to have a function called update. And I'm going to update it with an x and a y, just so we can update the position. So here I'm going to say this dot x1 equals x, this dot y1 equals y, this dot x2 equals this dot x plus this dot width, and actually this should be x. So this dot x or y2 equals y plus this dot h. Okay, semicolon at the end of both of those. So there we go. Now update is just so we can update the position of this bounding box. So let's start by giving this player bounding box. I'm going to first call it this dot bbx, short for bounding box, and I'm going to say equals new bbox, so bounding box, and this is going to take in this dot x, this dot y, and the width will be this dot size, and the height will be this dot size. Okay, so now in the step event, because we're updating the y position, we also need to update the bounding box position. So this dot bbx dot update, so we're going to update it with our new position. So this dot x, this dot y. So there we go. So if I come here, I'm going to give this a draw event as well. You'll see why. I'll get rid of this soon, but just a simple draw event where I'll do a no stroke and a fill color of 255.00, so red, and then I'm going to say rectangle at this dot x, this dot y, this dot w, this dot h. So I'm going to draw a rectangle that just encompasses the bounding box. So now if I come here and I say this dot bbx dot draw, now we can visually see this bounding box. And here we have an error. B box is not defined. I forgot the most important thing. Whenever you make a file, go to index, copy that line, BBOX, save, come here, refresh. There we go. And well, the player is falling pretty fast. Okay, well that's a bit of a problem. I'm going to comment out the gravity, and I'm going to have I want to put this back in where it just moves with the x and y position. So here we go. We have this. It's not drawing the bounding box, which is odd. Let me go back and make sure it's working. So B box, no stroke, fill color 255, this dot x, this dot y. Okay, this dot x is wrong. This dot x1 and y1. So there we go. That was the problem. Come here, refresh. There we go. Now we see that red box. That is the bounding box. Okay, come back here. Go to the bounding box, which I'm already on. So now I need well actually, you know what? I'm going to go to the wall, and I'm going to give it a bounding box as well. So this dot bbx equals a new b box at this dot x, this dot y, this dot size, this dot size. Okay, so it's just creating a new bounding box, and I'm not going to draw this one for now. Okay, so now I'm going to come into this bounding box. I'm going to create a new function. I'm going to say collision, collision, and I'm going to pass in another bounding box. So this is going to essentially take one bounding box and check if it's colliding or overlapping with another bounding box, which the formula for this is a little confusing. I can try to explain it in another video if you want, but for now just kind of follow along because it's kind of hard to explain. Might make sense to you. I don't expect it to though, so if it does, good job. But this took me a long time to even remember the formula for this. So I'm going to return. So this return is means that the function is going to, I guess, well, return a value. So if I'm asking, so like if I ask it a question, it's going to give me an answer. So right now I'm asking it, are you colliding with each other? And it's going to return either true or false depending upon whether or not it is. So I'm either going to return true or false. And how do I calculate whether or not it's true or false? Well, with this formula. So bear with me. This dot x1, and actually I might get this wrong. I could easily get this wrong first time. I just have to think about it because I don't have it open on the side. So let me just think. This dot x1 is less than this, or was less than bbx dot x2, and so and is two and symbols, and this dot x2 is greater than bbx dot x1. There we go. And I'm going to come here, I'm going to say and this dot y1, and by the way, I'm just putting this on a new line just so that it's easier to read. So this dot y1 is less than bbx dot y2, and this dot y2 is greater than bbx dot y1. So this doesn't have to be on a new line, but if I put these on the same line, it goes off the screen. So I just push enter just so it's easier for you guys to read. So there we go. That should be the function. I'm fairly certain that that'll work. How? So let me try this. I'm gonna have to change a little bit of things soon, but that's fine for now. So in the here, I could, so if I set the stroke color right now to 25500, that's going to set all of these to be red on all the walls. That should come to no surprise. However, I'm going to say if this .bbx.collision with player.bbx, I think this will work. So essentially it's going to say if it's colliding with the player, then it should turn red. Player is not defined. Well, that's just great. So what's the problem here? I should have a player object. Should I not? If I go, so it's probably order of operations again. I would not be surprised. Which it is. Okay. So I'm fairly certain. So let me look at this again. So we call, so here, okay. That needs to come first. I think that's all that was wrong. If I come here, okay, there we go. So if I move the mouse, if I move it over, oh, it doesn't work. Okay, bit of a shame. Let me go here and let me just test something. Let me say this.bbx.draw just as a test. I just want to make sure that they're actually there, which they are. It's drawing a bunch of red. Okay, so the collision's not working. So yeah, I got the formula wrong. Not really too surprised there. Let me open up my other screen just so I can check, because you know. So let's see. This .x1 is less than bbx x2, and this .x2 is greater than x1, and this .y1 is less than bbx.y2, and this .y2 is greater than y1. Sorry if you hear my dogs barking. They are a bit loud. Yeah, sorry. Why isn't this working? I'm doing something silly, obviously. So 1 second, let me check. Okay, I'm back. In reality, that took me a lot longer than it should have. So in the bounding box class, in the constructor, I said x2 and y2 equals this dot x and this dot y. Well, those aren't actual variables. That should be x1, y1. There we go. And then in the wall, we just got to make sure this dot bounding box dot collision with player bounding box. Okay, so if I come here now and I refresh, I put the player over any walls. They get highlighted red because they are in fact colliding with the player. So there we go. This is our collision, quote unquote, done. I mean, we can collide with two objects now, but let's make a loop. Yes, a loop to loop through, and we'll have a function for this to check if we're colliding with a wall. So wall collision, just want to make sure I spelled that right. A BBX bounding box and a X and a Y. So this is going to say if this bounding box is at some arbitrary position, so we're going to be able to move the bounding box, then will it be colliding with any wall at all? So what I'm going to say is, first, because I'm going to take like the player's bounding box and I'm going to move it to a different position. Well, at the end of this function, I want to move it back to where it was. So I need to save it. So var last x equals bbx dot x1, because we need to remember that x. I'm going to learn from my mistakes and remember it's x1 and not just x. So last x and last y are saved, and now I'm going to take the bounding box and update it with the new x and y values. And then I'm going to take the bbx at the very end of the function. I'm going to update it with the last x and the last y. So I'm going to take the bounding box, I'm going to move it to the new position and then move it back to where it belongs. Now I'm going to say for var I equals 0, I is less than walls dot length I plus plus, and then close those. Now this walls is an array that we created which holds every wall, so we're going to loop through every wall and check, is it colliding with a player? So if this, so I want to have a variable var, var r equal, I'll say ret equals false. This is the return value. That's what that's short for, return. So at the end, I'm going to say return ret. So if this dot, no, not this dot, if walls I, so that wall dot bbx dot collision there, sorry, with, so if it's colliding with player, or not player, but with that bbx, this bounding box, then what do we want to do? We want to say return equals true, because that would in fact mean that it is colliding with a wall. But I'm also going to say break, and what that's going to do is that's going to break out of this for loop, because if we find any wall that is colliding with the player, then we don't need to finish looping through every other wall, because it's at least colliding with the one wall, so it doesn't matter if it's colliding with the other ones. Okay, and that should do it, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to take out this right here because we don't need that anymore. I'm going to go to the player, and I'm going to say here, I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to put this back in, and if we just look at this right now just to make sure it's all working, I'm going to refresh. It just automatically falls directly through like before. So between here, I can say if the wall collision, I think I called it, we have wall collision, this dot bbx, then this dot y speed equals 0. So if we're colliding with any walls, actually what I almost forgot, we need to give it a new x and y position. So this dot x, and this is going to be the second one, the y value is going to be this dot y plus this dot y speed. So if the position that we are going to be at is colliding with a wall, then we'll set our y speed to 0. Now this isn't perfect. This is going to look a little weird. It's going to look weird because it's not going to work. Oh, that's great. Okay, we have a problem. So if wall collision, this dot pbx, this dot x, this dot y plus this dot y speed, then this dot y speed equals 0. Wait, I did that right? This dot y speed equals 0. Okay, what's the problem? If I go to the not the bounding box, the wall where we have this, we're looping through the walls and saying walls I, pbx, x and y, pbx.update, xy, return value is false. For all the walls, we're going to say if the walls bounding box dot collision with bounding box are equals true, update, return. I guess I'm gonna have to pause it for a second again. 1 second. Okay, I feel a little stupid because it turns out if I come over here, when I'm falling so fast that I actually move through the walls. So I set the gravity something smaller. I can refresh, and there we go. I hit the ground. Now, not perfectly, it's hard to see, but there's a little bit of a gap, and the falling didn't look very smooth at all, but we'll fix that. But I'm going to first attempt to fix this problem where it's like that. So one way I could do it is that you know what, we'll deal with this in a moment. First I want to fix the ugly falling. So I'm going to say while, I'm going to come in here and say while not wall collision, okay, this dot bbx, this dot x, this dot y plus, and this time we're going to do math dot sine of this dot y speed instead of just this dot y speed. And then I'm going to say this dot y speed, not y speed, sorry, this dot y plus equals math dot sine this dot y speed. Okay, now if I come here, now we have much cleaner movement and it lines up pretty well. I'm also going to come into this draw event and stop drawing this bounding box because I don't like that. Okay. So now I want to fix the problem that it's going so fast that it's eventually falling through, because one frame it's like right here, and then the next frame, because it's moving so fast, it's right here, and so it never has a chance to check if it's hitting up here. So I'm going to attempt to do this. I actually didn't test this out yet, so we're gonna see, I suppose. So we need to loop through multiple positions. So, I'll pause it just so I can see how it's done. Okay, I'm making an executive decision. It was too hard, I'm too lazy, and nobody wants to see it, and it's inefficient. So we have other things that we can do. So if we look at the wall, it should be the same as what it was before. So I can either set the gravity to 5, or I could come here where in the main, where I'm creating these walls, I could take this line, copy it, and do that. So add another wall. So if I come here, refresh, now it'll work because there's 2 layers of wall instead of 1. Or better yet, I could say maximum y velocity. So if I come to player, come to the step, here I can say if this dot y speed is greater than 30, we'll say 30, then this dot y speed equals 30. And now the y speed can't go above 30. So that looks fine, I think. Maybe I like the 2 layers more, or having gravity smaller might look better. Yeah, that looks a little better, I think. Okay, so now let's get some jumping and moving in. So this is really simple, actually. So if I were to say, come up here and say, actually I can use this line of code right here. So if key down W, and I probably should have just rewritten it, but that should be key press. This dot y speed equals negative 40, 20. I don't know what to put here because we'll have to test numbers out. So if I refresh, every time I push W, I jump up. But if I keep spamming the W button, I can keep on jumping infinitely. So let's fix that. We need to say, check if we're on the ground. So var ground equals, so this is going to be just to check if we're on the ground. If ground, var ground equals wall collision, this dot bbx, this dot x, this dot y plus 1. Oh, well, actually that's it. Okay, now I can say if key press W and if I can find this and key, and there we go, and ground. So only if we're on the ground. So I come here, now if I spam W all I want, it'll only do it when I'm touching the ground. Now, if I come back here, let's make some other movements. So I'm gonna say, var D for direction equals, I'll say key down dot D key minus key down dot A key. And then I'm gonna say, well, let me get some variables up here. So just like I have the y speed and gravity, I'm going to have this dot m speed for maximum speed equals, we'll say 10 for now. This dot, and then this dot x speed, so the current x speed is 0. So if I scroll down, I can say this dot x speed equals d times this dot m speed, then this dot x plus equals this dot x speed. Now I come here, refresh, and if I press D and A, I can move left and right, I can jump, and then if I press both at the same time, I stop moving, and it's working just fine. Let me go into where I have the main, and I'm creating this wall object. I'm going to create a new wall, and I'll do it at, let's say 15 times 32, and then y of 400 minus 32. And this is just going to create a wall right there. So I can jump on top of it just fine. But if I run into it, well, I can run directly through it. And if I'm through it, I can't jump. So that's a problem. We need to do horizontal collision next. Okay. Now if I come here, let's do horizontal collision. So if I come down to the player, this is actually really simple. I can take this code essentially, copy it, and I'm going to paste it right there, right above where it says this dot x plus equals x speed. Okay, so now here where I have this dot y plus this dot y speed, I'm going to take that out and essentially do it here instead. So this plus this dot x speed instead though. And then here where I have this, I'm going to cut that, put it there, and change it to x speed. And then here where I have this dot x, or this dot y, I'm going to change that to this dot x, change y speed to x, this y speed to x. There we go. That is horizontal collision, I'm pretty sure. That should work. So yep, if I move to the right, I cannot walk through it, and jump over it, and there we go. That is platform collision. And of course, I can play with these numbers a little bit now. So I can increase the, oh, we don't have a variable for jump speed. This dot j speed for jump speed equals 15. So if I scroll down to where we jump, we have y speed minus equals this dot j speed, and since that was 20, 15 is not going to be good. We'll do 30. Now I can come here, refresh, and I can jump a lot higher. And there we go. That's it. That is platform physics complete, platform movement complete, and all of that done. So hopefully I can have another video up soon, but until next time, see ya.